Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Temple B'nai Israel. For all of our streamers, it's going to be an interesting experience. Our streaming camera is down, so we're going through Zoom. So you get to see a little dual pane action here. You have me on one side of the screen and Iris Carlin on the other side of the screen, our student Cantor. And so the sound might be hopefully okay. There's Sandy saying hi. Look at this. Very nice. And it's wonderful that we're all here together, whether it's in person or on the stream. And so it's going to be maybe a little bit different. We're also about to celebrate Purim. You might notice the kippot, our Persian style yarmulkes that we're wearing tonight. And you might just notice a couple different melodies, a couple surprises, if you will, for this evening's service. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Iris for a few Purim songs to get us started.
Misha, 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 נכנס אדר. Misha נכנס אדר, מרבין בשמחה. Misha נכנס אדר, מרבין בשמחה. חג פורים, חג פורים, חג גדול הילדים, מסכות רעשנים, שירים וריקודים. הבה נרישה רש רש רש, הבה נרישה רש רש רש, הבה נרישה רש רש רש, ברעשנים. I love that. Let's do that one more time. But now I have the words in English. Purim Day, it's a happy holiday. We make noise with our toys, sing and dance and play. Let's hear the groggers, let's hear the groggers, let's hear the groggers. Rush, rush, rush all day. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה וששון ואהב. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה וששון ואהב. ומרדכי יצא בבגדי המלך, מלבוש מלכות ועטרת זהב. ומרדכי יצא מלפני המלך, והעיר שושן צהלה ושמחה. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה וששון ויראה. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה וששון ויראה.
We now turn to page 120 and 121 in our prayer books, Kabbalat Panim. We welcome Shabbat with the lighting of candles and with Kiddush. We call to come forward Kelly Siegel and Peter Blumenkrantz for candles and Kiddush. Let's rise together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
We're on page 124 as we continue responsibly in the middle of the page. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Let's turn now to page 138 and 139 for the singing of Lecha Dodi. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, and on the final verse, we're going to rise and face the door to greet the Sabbath bride, maybe even Queen Esther. No, that's later. We'll get there.
But we will definitely sing it in the Persian style of Shoshanat Yaakov. Once a year, we're allowed to do it, at least once a year. דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו ליל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נאסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי יברך קומי אורי. אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We're going to remain standing as we turn to page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to hope, to know, to despair. Together, teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Let my day be today as the one before. Let routine set my ways. On the next page, the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Please be seated. We're on page 148 as we continue into the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitbuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzonam. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, b'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom u'me'vi layla, umavdil ben yom u'vein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. On page 151, at the top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too, together? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Proclaiming God's oneness, we turn to the next page with the Shema.
כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 157, at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot together, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Next page, Micha Mocha.
And in honor of Purim, this Micha Mocha is to the tune of one of the masters of costumes, I think. Yeah? Micha Mocha ba'eli, Adonai, Micha Mocha, Nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, Osef רק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף הלב
That whets our appetite for our Disney Purim spiel coming up on Sunday. Fantastic. We're going to continue now on page 160 with Hashkivein.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שמרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen.
On page 162, we're going to continue with Vishamru, but you might notice again a slightly different melody.
I'll need some help. Okay, let's try. I think you're familiar with this. So it goes like this. Awimba wet, 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 awimba wet. Rabbi too. Awimba wet, awimba wet, awimba wet, awimba wet, awimba. Whoever wants to join me. Vishamru bnei Israel et השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם. לעשות את השבת ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל. ביני ובני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. ושם
We now turn to page 165. In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. Let's rise together for the Amidah HaTefillah. On page 164 to page 170.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצניח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We're now at the very bottom of page 173, underneath the line. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week we live under the tyranny of things in space. On Shabbat we try to become attuned to the holiness of time. It's a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Let's now turn to page 175 at the top of the page. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha ba'ira na'avod. I'm going to turn now to page 177 in the middle of the page. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? Together, you made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot. On page 178, we continue with a prayer for peace. Shalom Rab.
Shalom Rab al Yisrael amcha. ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Having prayed for peace, which is the healing of the world, we now take a moment to pray for the healing of the body, the soul, the spirit of those who are ill and in need of healing. We're on page 371 in the middle of the page. We're going to lift up those who are ill in our hearts and pray for them for a refuah shlema, a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit. Let's continue together in the middle of the page.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We are thinking of now wishing healing to Pat Adamson, Raymond Douglas Alcorn, Aiden John Ashley, Dr. Marty Bilo, Joe Brickman, Frankie Clement, Evan Bin, Ann Cole, Mark Edelstein, Mickey Edelstein, Benjamin Edelstein, and Brian Edelstein, Danielle Heyman Feist, Eric Fisk, Philip Gelman, Bob Gold and Carolyn Gold, Jennifer Gousset, Barbara Green and Buddy Green, Marvin Hollander, Lori Cattleman, Stuart J., Hank Corin, Wendy Sugarman Krosnoff, Robert Chaffee, Michael Lynch, Dolores Munsick, Ruth Polar, Lee Siegel, Stacy Siegel, Cindy Steinman, Fred Truax, and Pete Tanner. We add to these names any of those in our community. If those would like to mention a name, please speak their name. The eyes meet yours. Taking these names into our hearts of those that are mentioned at home, let's continue with our Misha Berach prayer.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, their renewal of body, their renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We now continue with a moment of silence and reflection. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So in the spirit of Purim and sort of having a little more of an informal evening, I thought it could be about that time for another rollicking session of Ask the Rabbi, an opportunity for you all to ask some questions of me related to Jewish history, thought, hopefully Purim, to be honest, the holiday is coming up. But I'll take on whatever questions you might have. If I don't know the answer, I'll either make something up or tell you I'll get back to you. One or the other. And anything overly political, I'm going to have Iris do. Okay. Better her than me. Okay. Heather. When does the Megillah date to? Yesterday. Although troubles seem so far away. So definitely the Megillah we know is earlier than 1st century BCE because we have it. They didn't think they had it. There were some remnants that we were able to find around the time of the scroll. It is most likely dated to the Greek period, probably pre-Maccabee, but possibly post-Maccabee. But right around that time, sort of 3rd, 4th century BCE. We know that it's past the Persian period because the author obviously was having some fun with the Persian Empire and sort of giving them a couple little, perhaps not so loving nudges in the Megillah of Esther, but had some idea of not necessarily Persian history per se, but Persian culture, and again, having a little bit of fun at their expense. So yeah, that's a great question on the Megillah. Yeah. That's a really great question. And so I'm going to give you the simple answer and the complicated answer for Mishloach Manot. So the simple answer of Mishloach Manot, of giving gifts to your friends, actually does come from the Megillah itself. The Megillah in the very end, chapter 8, chapter 9, says that this day has been established, for a day of festivals and good tidings and giving gifts, and so that's from the Megillah where it comes from. Now, the question after that is, were the Jewish people already doing that on that day before it was a holiday? Were they celebrating something already? Maybe it was like the spring, time, coming. Maybe it was some other sort of festive, rollicking party that was taken over adapted from pagan times. And the rabbis, and the scholars sort of saw this and went, we need to make something Jewish out of this. I know, Purim, and they helped create sort of a story to justify the tradition. Or does the tradition, actually, Rabbi Matt Berger, if you knew it, saw the Jewish press, speaks about that a little bit in his column in the Jewish press. But yeah, so it is from the Megillah, and then the rabbis add on to it a little bit later about gift giving and charity tzedakah to the poor. It's a really good question. Yeah, Lori? Oh, you follow up? Yeah. I'll take whatever you got. I'm not picky. I have seen some different. The question was for those at home. Is there a tradition for the different things included in a Mishloach Manot basket? You usually have hamantash, and I've usually seen some nuts. Usually involve a little fruit, and because it's Purim, a little bissel of the good stuff, depending on the basket you're getting. Yeah, usually it's a little bottle of the Sutter Home Cabernet. Those little bottles of red wine and whatnot. Is there a tradition, Iris, with nuts and fruit, or is that just?
I have to unmute for that. Yes, leftovers from Tu B'Shvat.
Tradition. Yeah, Laurie. Why do we braid the challah? That's a very interesting question in terms of, so we have the 2 strands of the challah, similar to the 2 candles, is what I was taught. I'm sure there are other traditions, but similar to the 2 candles that we have for Shabbat Shamor V'Zachor, to observe and to remember the Sabbath day. You have 2 strands of challah that you then weave, merge together to symbolize the coming together of that commandment to observe and to remember the Sabbath day. I'm sure there are other traditions. That's a midrashic approach to the braiding of challah. I'm sure there are more explanations. So that's the one I learned. The tradition of the round during the high holidays, because life is circular and never, and it keeps going. There's no end. As we heard, can you feel the love tonight? But the circle of life does in fact move us all through despair and hope and whatever else the verses are. I don't remember. But it was good with Elton John. Yes, Elton John did a pretty good job with that movie, is all I'm saying. Okay. Yep. In celebrating Purim in particular, I have to imagine yes, but I don't know what they are. But I'd have to imagine yes. Hamantashen, I think by their nature are pretty Ashkenazic. So I am not sure whether the Sephardim have Hamantashen as well, or if they do, if it's a different blend, a different, I'm not sure on that front. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any Sephardic Persian Purim customs. Any Sephardic Purim customs you know of?
I have waiting or the opportunity to say that with the other Megillah, and I would love to talk to you about it later in length, with the Megillah of Judith, there are so many costumes and celebrations that celebrate women and Eid al-Banat, the festival of women and the festival of daughters, that only the Sephardic tradition had continued to hold on from the Hashmonai period until this very day. We'll talk about it later, gladly.
Excellent question. I've got some good questions today. Any others that are springing up on your mind? Karen, comment. Oh, Jay. Maybe. You don't think so? No. Why not? Karen is a problem with Esther for all those at home. Just to let you know, throwing her to the bus right away. Mm-hmm. So you read her more as a cynical figure? Or a little more Iris is going to defend Esther's honor. I can feel
No,
it.
I'm not going to defend her. It's just that what we read is the story that men wrote. Now, distinguish.
Well, I mean, I don't have much, in terms of that, but for me, it's like the Vashti character is the one that's interesting to me in terms of how Vashti has sort of been reclaimed in the feminist movement. I think that's sort of been powerful because she doesn't do well in rabbinic Judaism for obvious reasons. But I think certainly with the feminist and neo-feminist sort of movement in the past in the Jewish tradition, the past 60 plus years, it's interesting to see how she's been sort of reclaimed as more of a heroic figure for standing up for herself and standing up, for her rights, et cetera, not to be exploited. So I think that's powerful. And Esther, I'll put it this way: it's a multi-layered story, and we all have our own way of reading said tale. That's my my response on that one. But I usually have more of a problem with Mordecai, to be honest. But if I'm going to be honest on that one. That one's Talmudic, so like the Talmud has now remember again, a lot of these arguments are taking place post facto, like Purim is already established the holiday, right? And so the rabbis are looking at this and asking similar questions like, why do we have the book of Esther in our scrolls in our Bible? Because it doesn't mention God's name. The story seems a little spilly. It's they have to find ways of making it connect, right, to Jewish life. They have to find a way to make it connect to the Jewish experience. And our villain, our bad guy in the story is related to our villain, sort of our original nemesis in the Torah, whose name is Amalek. Amalek, we are told in the Torah that because of what he does to the Jewish people, that he attacks the Israelites from behind when they're tired and weak, and he picked on the women and the children, and sort of attacked us at our most vulnerable point. That for that reason, we are to blot the name of Amalek, from history, right? And so with our Purim villain being a direct descendant of Amalek, we are then, the rabbis draw that same conclusion, we're supposed to blot out his name as well. And so that way, when his name is read, we have to do different things to drown out his name. And now the different traditions of what we actually do, from the groggers to the stamping of the feet. Did anyone ever have a tradition growing up of writing his name on your shoe in chalk and stomping it out as well? That's a different tradition, the booing, the hissing, the this and the that, just to blot out his name. It comes to that earlier Torah injunction of blotting out the name of Amalek. Then it gets to be our big baddie for Haman. Then he gets on the list, so to speak, next. So we have to blot out his name as well. So yeah, Talmudic. And then like anything else that we're discussing, to be honest, these things developed through the centuries, where we get the different traditions, foods, customs, and some of them are based. Like my favorite tradition, actually, one of my favorites in the Megillah itself, that Purim is a 2-day holiday, depending on where you are. That if you're in an unwalled city, you do it on one day, and if you're in a walled city, you do it the next day, because Shushan was a walled city, and their redemption came the next day. And so in Israel, I certainly remember, I don't know if you ever had this experience, but I celebrated Purim in Tel Aviv on one day, got home a little late, and then started celebrating Purim the next day in Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is a walled city. So we had 2 days of Purim fun. It was a fun 2 days. Yes, and also how they celebrated, obviously, is different in Tel Aviv than in Jerusalem. In Tel Aviv, you still have a little bit more of that secular sort of vibe to it. And in Jerusalem, there's a lot of Haredim going wild. So, an interesting spectacle. What's everyone's favorite Hamantaschen flavor? Raise your hand for apricot, strawberry, raspberry, cherry, guava. Okay, here it comes. There's always one. Poppy. There we go. There's a couple. I saw a couple of hands from Poppy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, sorry, chocolate. See, that's nouveau. I have a Nutella. Hamantaschen. Sorry, lemon curd. We discussed. I like apple. I didn't do apple butter. Did anyone see in that article this week on Nasher for pizza taschen? Yeah, pizza taschen, using the dough and the whatnot, it's basically a calzone, right? That works so well. Any other Purim thoughts or thoughts otherwise? Fair enough. Remember, we got our Purim celebrations this weekend. Sunday, remember, we have our Purim spiel. It's going to be great. It's 1:30 for the spiel, a little earlier for a little pizza if you would like to partake. And then we have our Monday night program as well with Bethel. So we got a lot of fun stuff going on this weekend. Have a happy Purim, have a safe Purim, and really enjoy the celebration. It's a lot of fun. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, on that. And let's now go to page 586 as we rise together for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לגדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וכל
Let's turn to page 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and the holy thing, a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. We are in the Shloshim period for the memory of Barbara Finkel, sister of Sandy Broida. And so we send our condolences to Sandy, to Joel, and to their entire family on this loss. We are also in the Shloshim period for the memory of David Krutchik, son of Fran Krutchik. Fran is here with us this evening. We send our condolences to Fran and her family. We also think of those who died during this last year: Shirley Matler, Richard Clausen, Mary John Resch, Liesel Schick, Linda Levon Slavinsky, Jay Roth, Fran Brickman, John Conway, Michael Vereb, Janice Lederer, Bernice Lippman, Eric Adler, Ezra Bobo, Richard Orwin, Dr. Sonia Linke. And we think of those who died during the season in years past: Norman and Nathaniel Adler, Nancy Bear Auerhahn, Harold Eli Brauer, Alan Benjamin, Rose P. Berg, Benjamin Bessner, Lena Bessner, Sadie Betauer, Ann Blumenkrantz, Joseph L. Brody, Felix Buck, Richard Clausen, Samuel Dowman, Barry Dabowski, Stacy Ann Dabowski, Edward Dolan, Herman Drickman, Reese Elb, Marilyn Fairstein, Jack Feinstein, Theodore Fried, Sumner Friedman, Leona Gallet, Carl Glassberg, Adam B. Goldberg, Rebecca Ruttenberg Goldsmith, Sarah B. Goldstein, Elliot W. Greenberg, John Green, Nathan Hamburger, Jean Marie Harris, Tilly Hess, Marty Ismark, Annette Kalman, Goldie Karp, Sam Crone, Harold Krutchik, Lynn Kunkus, Bridget Lee, E. Philip Levine, Harold Lopatin, Morris Lowy, David Matz, Dominika Milholovic, John Miller, Ronald Moss, Abraham Peskin, Shirley J. Peskin, Mary Reeve, Dr. Robert E. Sachs, Aracilia Schlegel, Florence Barondess Schwartzberg, I.B. Sherman, Irving Sokol, Samuel Strumpf, Ellen Letcher Shurak, Jude Torf, Ruth Ucklist, Matthew Vonderau, Fritz Weil, Gert Wolder, and Philip Zahn. Is there anyone else observing a yurt site sitting Kaddish for any reason? Please mention their names. Let's rise together as one community for our Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bialma, Divra, Cherute, Biamlich Malchute, Bechayechon, Uvyomechon, Uvchaye, Dechol Beit Israel, Ba'agala, Uvizman Kariv, Vimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Olamei Umaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitrumam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei Dekudisha Barich Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tush V'chata V'nechamata Da'amiran V'yama V'yimru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabbah Min Shemaya B'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. O Se Shalom B'mramav Kuya Se Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, and all of the world. As together we say Amen. Please be seated. Now, my pleasure to invite forward one of our co-presidents, Sandy Sunter, for a couple of synagogue announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody in our sanctuary, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone at home. So glad to see everyone here tonight. Thank you, Rabbi, for today's service. Just to let you know, anybody who came to Bible class, we learned so much about the Megillah. The story of Esther, there's an adult part to it. So maybe next year, God willing, we can all hear this, the inner workings of the Megillah. Glad to see you back. Thank you, Iris. So glad to see you back. And thank you, whoever's helping us stream tonight. I don't know. Huh? Well, anyhow, thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for coming up and setting our lights. And Dr. Blumenkranz, Peter, thank you for coming up and saying the Kiddush tonight. All right, let's see. So Rabbi kind of said that, we do have our Purim events coming up this weekend. So just a reminder, on Sunday at 12:30, there'll be a pizza lunch, pasta with the spiel to follow after that. So we hope that you'll come and bring your families and friends. And then on the next night at 6 o'clock, March the 6th, is the adult Purim party with Temple Bethel. And it's at the Grand Central Brew House in St. Petersburg. And there, if you want more information, you can certainly go online. Oh my goodness. Go online and look for it. We have some guests. And just to remind you, we still have Bible class on Tuesday nights at 7:30 with Rabbi Rubel. It's in person, or you can Zoom it. And it's always got lots of interesting information. So we'll be talking about the spiels. One thing I just want to say this. I don't know, everybody doesn't read their e-blast, so I'm going to make sure that this is covered. I just said, we put something in, and for those who may not read it, I just wanted to say, Paul Sandy and the board of directors, Rabbi LaBelle and the staff of Temple B'nai Israel would like to thank everybody who baked, cooked, sliced, packaged, tasted, bagged, sliced, weighed, chopped, counted, greeted, sliced, sold, and ordered food for our Jewish Food Festival. Thank you all for everything that everyone has been doing. Our food festival, the food drive was excellent. It was a great success and always fun to be there. And without you all, there would be no festival. And especially thank you to Sharon Finkelstein and Matt and Angela, Tina, Alan, Sonia, and Manny, who all gave us extra time this week. And thank everybody for their incredible leadership and support. I think. Oh, the strawberry picking tomorrow. Is that the starkey? Oh, what did you tell us about the strawberry picking tomorrow? I didn't realize it was strawberry. Thanks. And March the 22nd, Wednesday at 7 p.m., we will be hosting a concert that evening with Nefesh Mountain. And this is in collaboration with Temple Bethel, Congregation Beth Shalom Federation. Admission's only $10, so please go online and will be a reception afterwards. And it is a really fun evening of music. If you've never heard them before, they're fun. And Rabbi Daniel Treizer's Memorial Poker, April the 1st, for those of you who love poker. And those of you who don't love poker, come anyhow. And there's other things that we're going to hopefully do some things. We've talked about maybe playing cards or some other games. So please come to that. The doors open at 6 o'clock. The first shuffle's at 6:45. There'll be all kinds of prizes and always good food. So please, again, go online for your tickets. And I think, no, I also want to say Rabbi has invited the congregation. Oh, it's not in here. We'll get to that. But and just want to let you know that Rabbi and his wife, Dr. Elizabeth, Lobel has invited the congregation, their son Ari, God willing, is going to be bar mitzvahed on March the 25th at 10:30 right here in our sanctuary. So just wanted to make sure that you all knew that, and please, if you plan to come to RSVP for that, I'm looking forward to it. And the gala, April the 29th, mark it on your calendar. This is going to be our Temple B'nai Israel's 74th anniversary celebration, and we'll also be honoring Barbara Bloom for her many years of being here for us and being with us. It's going to be good food, dancing, decorations. What else? Just going to be a fun evening. Definitely music. So it's a kind of a dress-up affair, but please come. We're trying to make it as reasonable as we can so that as many people can attend. So we're looking forward to it. Tickets will be $75 and $150 for two. And there's always sponsors available if everybody wants to do sponsors or buy a table. So that's that. The only thing I always like to leave you with a little something. So this is my little something tonight. Don't walk behind me. I may not lead. Don't walk in front of me. I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Yeah, it's a good line. I like it. He was a baby. Yeah. Okay. A little blast from the past. Okay, we have a concluding song. Let's all rise together for a little, one last little burst of pre-Purim joy.
Do we need to stand up?
I like them standing up. Get the blood flowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we had discussed the feelings of the Hamantashans, and I'm sorry that this song does not include all of them. It's definitely not appropriate and not fair nowadays not to include everyone, but it includes only the one that starts with P and chocolate. So this is peanut butter, poppy, prune, and chocolate Hamantashen. Let's see. Let's try to say it together. It's not a T thing. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, and chocolate Hamantashen. One more time. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. One last time. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Haman. Excellent. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. If Purim is the holiday, this snack you will be noshin'. It's ham and hat or ears or eyes. On this I am not joshin'. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. When I was just a little girl a long, long time ago, the month Adar had just come in. But how was I to know that there was such a holiday with food I would sequester? That yummy treat I love to eat when reading about Esther. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. If Purim is the holiday, this snack you will be noshin'. If it's ham and hat or ears or eyes, on this I am not joshin'. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. Yum diddly, yum diddly, yum diddly, yum. The first time that I saw these things triangular in shape, their smell was oh so heavenly that there was no mistake. I took a bite, my appetite just grew and grew and grew. Without Oznei Haman and Purim, oh, what am I to do? Oh, peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. If Purim is the holiday, this snack you will be noshin'. It's ham and hat or ears or eyes, on this I am not joshin'. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate Hamantashen. Oh, beautiful challah. Ready? Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread.
service. So we had some families there to celebrate religious school Shabbat, and so we had a really great night of Shabbat, I think, between our community and CBS. So with that all said, Shabbat Shalom and Happy Purim, everybody.
Happy Purim!